Welcome, beloved Awakened One. I'm Monica Bermudez, and this is the podcast of the Ascended Earth, the transfiguration of the new you, the new human. We are an ever-evolving human, learning, growing, expanding, and upgrading. What you are and always will be is a divine, cosmic galactic source from source, more than you can imagine. But not all of us are living to our fullest potential. It is time to embrace what you are and unlock your magical keys and spiritual gifts. This podcast is a transmission of energy codes meant to unlock other dormant DNAs to remember, reconnect, revive, and renew you to the new human, the avatar that you are. This is the transfiguration of the new you. Welcome, beloved Awakened One. I'm Monica Bermudez. In this episode, I want to talk about our consciousness in the quantum world. But before I jump into that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the science of things and what quantum physics is and what that means about the whole quantum world. So physics is about the motion of objects and the force of those movements. And Isaac Newton was, you could say, the first physics person who came up with the laws of Newton. And also he was a mystic too. So he studied a lot of the gravitational pull and force of energy. So when we talk about the quantum world and the quantum physics, we're talking about at a smaller level of the subatomic and the atomic level. So particles at the electrons, neutrons, protons, going really deep at a much smaller level. The scientists started to explore a lot more because their technology started to advance. And technology is continuing to accelerate even more because of the current energies of our conscious expansion with the ascension. So technology is moving at a very accelerated rate. So when you have the quantum physics, that's what we're talking about, is the motion of these smaller particles within us. So it's transcending all time and space, because going much deeper within the subatomic particles is a connection with the universe and the connection with us. And the consciousness is throughout each and every one of our cells, all trillions of cells that are working together. And so when we say in the quantum field, that is where our consciousness is residing at a very collective level. Now, this has always been the case. However, during the time when we are in the 3D linear timeline of more density of 3D level, it's a much more slower pace, and there was less of an awareness of the fact of our interconnectedness in this quantum world. But as the energies are accelerated now on the planet, our consciousness has expanded even more to the point that it also gave us this awareness of that connection that we are in that quantum field. And so the more of us who build that awareness, you can consider this part of an awakening as well. but the more aware that we become of how much we impact one another when it comes to the collective field. Because having this conscious awareness, we're also realizing certain patterns that no longer serve us. And so those patterns also are in that collective consciousness too. And part of it is built from our own perception, how we grew up, and what our experiences were. And based on those experiences and those belief systems that we grew up with, it also forms this perception. And so the more of the collective group who grows up with certain experiences and certain beliefs, say like in a social, cultural, they all have their own belief systems and their own culture, the more that ties into the collective itself. And one of the biggest one that I know that has been impacting so many around the world is this whole lack mentality when it comes to wealth and our own prosperity and abundance, not having enough resources, because that's the way our world has been built around this whole infrastructure of how the financial system is made by working hard, making money. And that's how you get money, is by working hard. But really though, and then money is seen as, when you have too much money, it can be looked at as being evil. And I know that for most who are especially like light workers who are starseeds and are working on their own spiritual entrepreneur business, this is one of the most biggest challenges, is that lack of mindset, because I feel we've been sabotaged because of our previous past experiences. And I speak for myself too, because this is one of the areas that I struggle myself when I first launched my business, was to actually set it up to get paid. And within that field, one of the things is that because we also carry this in the collective, but it's also in the individual, which is the reason why it is so important that when we work on ourselves and we work on those patterns and shifting within ourselves, transmuting those patterns to be more of the wealth and abundance and be more in your own favor to support your infrastructure, your life, and how you're living your life. And as long as you put that energy that it's serving of a highest purpose for yourself, but also for others. So being more of this, it's adding more to the collective consciousness as well. So the more of us who come together and focus our energy, let's just say this, right, as an example, if we all focus our energies on money, to say that money serves a greater purpose, and that purpose is to serve the collective, to be in that abundant and balanced state. And money can take its form in any way. It could be through Bitcoin. It could be through the bill system that we have now. But I feel that's changing so much. And eventually we're going to get out of this whole coin and paper type system as we're becoming more like into the digital. And the way, it's handled in the financial system is changing. But however that may be, it is important to know that you can shift that mindset and heart set, because I always focus on the heart too, is how you treat your wealth and how you treat your money. And if you treat it with care, so not just like doing it for selfish means or throwing it out and not being mindful or heartful of its intention and its purpose, then it could create certain imbalances as well in your own wealth system. So when we are talking about shifting the collective, consciousness in the quantum world, this is one example of us shifting that in the collective within ourselves first, to start with proclamations, for instance, and also like energetically setting that intention of money being used as a tool to serve a greater purpose. It could be a purpose for charities, for donations, for helping the communities and rebuilding communities to be more of this community of oneness where each one is helping one another. It's not like it was, in the previous, although there are still some infrastructures still operate that way where they're just their own self and nobody else. But stepping into this Aquarian type energy is building those communities of infrastructure that support one another. And it could be having your own land where on this land you're supporting each other by exchanging, certain like food. Like if you have your own vegetable garden and there's so much abundance of it that you're able to share with others. And likewise for someone else who may have their own vegetables that they're growing and they're able to share with you and others as well. So, building those communities. And that's where I see, this being served in that higher purpose of how it is that you put your energy in the things that are in your life. Money is just one example. But imagine that where we would all just unite as one with this conscious awareness of this quantum field where we're all interconnected and where we're all sharing these high vibrational thoughts of harmony, balance, peace, and love. And it would reset a lot of the quantum field here on the earth, but also in the universe, and move us even more into the 5D density, and continuing to move even more into the other densities of 6D and 7D and more, because we're capable of even more. We are expansive, and the more that we are able to transmute and be the alchemist to transmute those patterns that no longer serve us, the more it creates the space for creating a new reality and shifting the timeline to be in that highest vibrational timeline. So, this is a message that I wish for all to be aware of how much we're making a difference in this quantum field. And then we're talking about the quantum entanglement because it's through quantum entanglement that we are all interconnected in that way. It's almost like a spider web. And that's the way it looks like to me, like a spider web where it's through our own consciousness and awareness and the way we shift it that we're also weaving certain energies within this cobweb. And it could take this formation that looks like a sacred geometry when it's in a specific harmonic type frequencies coming together, when it's shifting into these higher vibrational energies of our own thoughts and feelings, coming together within this quantum world. And looking at it from an infinite and abundant possibility of things, because there are infinite solutions and there are infinite realities that we can shift and maneuver. So it is really up to us to break free from the matrix. And I'm not saying it's easy either. It's one of the things that I've struggled myself. And there's still some portions of the world that are still operating in a 3D matrix. But our soul, which is expanding more so with these consciousness energies, is accelerating into these 5D energies. But one thing to remember is that our body is also a key and important for this ascension as well. So knowing this, that how we are intertwined within this quantum world in our own consciousness, we are able to shift it together. And if we could get almost the entire planet, this world would look very different. And it's starting to feel and look different in some areas. Whereas in other areas, what appears to be chaotic has some type of order behind the scenes, because there is some dismantling that needs to occur in order to restructure and rebuild the new that is more in conformity with the higher vibrational energies. So building structures that are more in favor of others in the community. So I will leave you with that message, and I hope to catch you in the next episode. I am sending you all so much love. Bye for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to click like, save, and share with others so they can also experience what you just experienced. And stay tuned for some more high vibe episodes. And I'll be connecting with you in the next quantum field. Sending you so much love.